Why belly fat becomes so stubborn after 50, the insulin connection. For many people, weight gain after 50 feels deeply unfair. Healthy meals, regular movement, conscious choices, and yet, the belly area seems to hold on to fat as if it were glued in place. This experience is often blamed on aging, lack of discipline, or a slowing metabolism. But the truth is far more nuanced, and far more relieving. The human body after 50 does not simply follow the same rules it once did. It does not respond to calories, exercise, and restriction in the same way. And the reason lies not in willpower, but in biology. At the center of this process is a hormone that quietly decides whether the body stores energy or releases it. That hormone is insulin. Insulin is often misunderstood. It is not the enemy. It is not something that needs to be eliminated or feared. In fact, insulin has a vital role. It helps transport sugar from the bloodstream into the cells so it can be used as energy. However, insulin also has a second function that becomes increasingly important with age. It acts as a storage signal. Whenever insulin levels rise, the body receives a clear message. Energy is available. Store it. At first, this energy is directed into the liver and muscles. Once those storage spaces are full, any excess is redirected into fat cells. And for many people after 50, this storage happens predominantly in the abdominal area. This is where frustration begins. Traditional dieting approaches assume that the body works like a simple calculator. Eat less, move more, and weight loss will follow. But the body is not a calculator. It is a highly adaptive biological system. And insulin is one of the main conductors of that system. As long as insulin remains elevated, fat burning remains switched off. The body cannot store fat and burn fat at the same time. These two states are mutually exclusive. This explains why many people experience the same cycle again and again. Restriction leads to short-term changes, followed by plateaus, exhaustion, and eventual regain. With increasing age, this pattern intensifies. Cells become more sensitive to insulin spikes and slower at clearing insulin from the bloodstream. Even small meals, snacks, or the wrong food combinations can keep insulin elevated for hours. This means that fat-burning windows become shorter and rarer, often without conscious awareness. Stress adds another layer to this equation. The stress hormone cortisol interacts closely with insulin. When cortisol rises, insulin often follows. And abdominal fat cells are particularly responsive to this combination. This is not a coincidence. From a biological perspective, abdominal fat acts as a protective energy reserve during times of perceived stress. The body does not distinguish between physical danger and psychological pressure. Chronic stress, poor sleep, emotional tension, and constant alertness all send the same message. Store energy. Prepare for survival. Over time, this hormonal environment suppresses growth hormone production, a key factor for muscle maintenance, tissue repair, and fat utilization. As muscle mass gradually decreases, metabolic efficiency follows. The result is a body that feels resistant, stubborn, and uncooperative. This does not mean that change is impossible. It means that the strategy needs to change. Rather than forcing the body into restriction, the goal becomes creating the internal conditions that allow fat burning to occur naturally. This begins with understanding how insulin responds to everyday habits. One of the most overlooked factors is meal composition and sequence. The order in which foods are eaten influences insulin release more than many people realize. Protein and fiber slow glucose absorption and reduce insulin spikes. Refined carbohydrates consumed first tend to trigger rapid insulin elevation, setting the body into storage mode for extended periods. Another key factor is timing. Late evening eating keeps insulin elevated during hours when the body would normally shift into repair, detoxification, and fat utilization. Instead of restoring balance overnight, the body remains in storage mode. Sleep quality also plays a critical role. Insufficient sleep increases cortisol levels, which destabilizes insulin regulation the following day. This creates a feedback loop that reinforces fat storage and increases hunger signals. Movement supports insulin sensitivity, but it does not need to be extreme. Gentle activity after meals helps muscles absorb circulating glucose, reducing the insulin response. Consistency matters more than intensity. The most important shift is perspective. The goal is not to fight the body, punish it, or override its signals. The goal is to work with its natural rhythms. When insulin levels are allowed to drop regularly, fat burning resumes. When stress is reduced, hormonal balance improves. When sleep is prioritized, metabolic signals stabilize. Small adjustments, applied consistently, can change the internal environment profoundly. Belly fat after 50 is not a personal failure. It is a biological response to hormonal signaling, stress exposure, and metabolic adaptation. Understanding this removes blame and restores agency. The body is not broken. It is responding exactly as it was designed to respond. By supporting insulin balance through mindful eating patterns, adequate rest, gentle movement, and stress awareness, the body gradually shifts out of storage mode. Progress may feel subtle at first. Energy improves. Cravings soften. The body feels less resistant. Over time, visible changes often follow. This process is not a sprint. It is a recalibration. And when the internal signals align, fat loss becomes a natural consequence rather than a constant struggle. And if you enjoyed this video, feel free to give it a like and subscribe to my channel so you won't miss anything in the future. Thank you.